Right guys, so we're going to do a little check on the brakes. This is only going to be concentrating on V brakes or caliber brakes, which are any brakes that basically run along your rim here. So if you've got any similar brakes to this design, it's open. And then on the road bike, on the caliber ones here as well. One of the best things you can do is check your brake pads to make sure that they're working okay. So what I'm going to do is just going to, on the top here on your V brakes, I'm just going to push in so that this little notch comes out and this releases the brakes, and then you can open them up and check your brake pads as well. See, if you can look in the camera there, what I'm ideally looking for is these notches in between. If I haven't got any notches, they've run way too far down so that the brakes have actually run down, or if there's any metal sticking out, that's a problem as well. A good way to check the brake pads as well is that you can check that they're wearing down nice and even rather than wearing down at an angle. So you know that when your brake is making contact with the wheel, it should be making contact with the rim really nice and even as well. So if I squeeze that back together, just gonna put it down. It's a bit awkward one-handed. So when I actually come to the front brake, when I'm squeezing it in, what I don't want to be happening is that this brake is really loose, so that's coming all the way back to the handle. That shouldn't be happening if that's happening with your brakes. You should have a 2-finger gap when you pull it in, so it should be tight enough. So realistically, I need mine to be much tighter, up to about there, rather than coming all the way in. A few different ways you can do this. This is your barrel adjuster. So you can use your barrel adjuster. So if you loosen the barrel adjuster off, wow, this one is really tight. I don't think I've ever used this. Typically, I just tend to do it straight from adjusting the wire at the end. So I'm loosening that off. That's not going to make lots of difference because it's really tight. So that's getting a bit stiffer there, so it is working a little bit. That's if you're only bringing it in and you've still got a finger of space, the barrel adjuster is the first thing that I come towards. Otherwise, the other option is, which I would probably do in turn anyway, please excuse the front rack, get an Allen key into this little fella here. Yep, get an Allen key into here. I would loosen this completely off, and then what I'd do is the wire's here, in turn, just to tighten it, you just want to pull the wire through so that it's just going to be pulling it a little bit tighter. I'll pull it tight enough so that the brakes are touching the rim on both sides nice and evenly. So if they're touching the rim on both sides, that's obviously going to be rubbing along your rim, and you wouldn't be cycling like that. That's after you tighten it up, so that then you can come back to the barrel adjuster, and because it was loosened, because when you typically loosen it off, it tightens the brakes up, so then you're just going to tighten it back up so then it'll be back in. So loosen your barrel adjuster, it will tighten your brakes, and then get an Allen key in this little fella and tighten it back through. First checks to do though before you're going to be checking anything is make sure that the wire is actually okay, because there's a good chance if you haven't used it for a long time your wire might be worn down. This fella's still nice and silvery. You don't want it burring at the end. Can't remember what this little sucker's called, but if you have it so that your wire's spraying out, then that will go all the way back into your brakes, and then the wire will be pretty much useless. And also check your brake pads as well. So you always want your brake pads to be wearing nice and even, and they're going to need the notches in them so that you know that they're good quality and they're actually braking. And don't forget also to check the rim. So on the rim you should always have your black silver, so that you know the rim's in good enough quality. This one's wearing down quite a lot, so the marker's gone down, but it's still in good enough quality.